This message brought to you by Cumberland Electric Membership Corporation.
This is the day the Lord hath made. I will rejoice and be glad in it. Listening to great gospel music on WSGI AM 1100, Springfield's God Informer.
One street over there's a life I could have known, one beyond my wildest dreams. Maybe that road could have carried me to streets of gold. Things aren't always as they seem. Looking back on all the chances that I missed, some I held, some slipped away. One street over where my memories exist, I wondered what would change, I really couldn't say. In this life there's nothing certain, except the curtain that rises to the stage. Silly games of second guessing, I just forget the lessons that I couldn't learn. Because one street over there's a life I could have known that would have kept me from the one I had today. Times gone by, I've traded like dirt into clay. I thought my memories would end. One street over's now 1,000 miles away. When I close my eyes, I'm back to where I've been. In this life there's nothing certain, except the curtain that rises to the stage. Silly games of second guessing, I just forget the lessons that I couldn't learn. Because one street over there's a life I could have known that would have kept me from the one I had today. I took a walk one street over from my home, cracked and broken asphalt everywhere. I could have ended up just like that broken road, with a dead end in my path. Thank the Lord that I've got more than that. In this life there's nothing certain, except the curtain that rises to the stage. Silly games of second guessing, I won't forget the lessons that I don't deserve. Because one street over there's a life I could have known that would have kept me from the one I love today.
Oh, hello. How are you doing? Oh, I feel like I've been gone forever, y'all. This is 1100 WSGI. I'm Utah LaVern, and yeah, this is one street over. What's going on one street over from where you living? We're living right. We get to live and work in Robertson County, as Mayor Vogel loves to say. And I got to tell you something. 2026 just starting out right, because we've been trying, Barry Richards is here. Now,
Good morning.
I'll have to say, poor Sean Elmore is supposed to be in here, and she has the flu. I mean, she goes, "You do not want me in your airspace." And I'm like, "No, sister, I do not." And it was so funny because yesterday I'm in BJ's up in Rivergate, and I hear a voice behind me, and I'm checking out, and I turn around, there's Barry.
Yeah.
And I had no idea. I said, "Hey, we'll get you back in soon to kind of kick the year off." And I said, "Sean's coming in tomorrow." And because I have a full slate this week already, because we've got Mandy and all the crew from White House coming in, and then Wednesday we'll start talking to the principals again here in Robertson County, and then of course United Way Thursday, Faith Friday, all the things. And I told Barry, I said, let me look at the calendar and we'll get you in. And so last night about 6, I'm like, hey.
Funny you should ask.
Funny I should mention this, because guess what's happened? Sean's got the blue. And we talked about her because you're headed over to work with her to do the video for the big extravaganza.
Yeah, in my previous life, I was a video producer, and I still do that some with Big Screen Productions. And we are going to be over there Wednesday with Catherine Farah doing the interviews and talking with people that they have served in the last few years. Like you said, putting the video together that'll be shown at their big banquet that they have once a year, and then some of those interviews will be used on. It's what you see on their social media throughout the year for Open Door. So it's a great program they have there.
Oh my gosh,
and a lot of people don't know about it. I've told so many people about it, because if it's not in your orbit, you're not going to think about it. But they're really effective with the funds they raise. They do a great service to the community. They're helping babies, they're helping mothers, they're helping families, and a lot of people don't understand how far that goes because they have parenting classes that anybody can take. A lot of people think, oh, that's that crisis pregnancy center, that's for that, poor mother and her baby. But it goes far beyond that. It's helping people who are new parents, if you want to. You can go in there and learn how to be a better parent. Yeah. Perhaps I should have taken that a few years ago. You have to ask my kids. Yeah.
Isn't that the truth? My kids, my youngest is going to be turning 30 here pretty soon. And it's so funny that you look back on it now, and of course now I've got grandkids and about to have my 5th grandkid. And I listen to my children talk about the things that they experienced as children, and I'm like, oh no, did we really do that?
Did we
I'm
do
just
that?
mortified.
Is this a true story?
And now they'll talk about how they're parenting their kids, and then they'll say something about what I let them do, and then they'll give me a look like, you let us do that, mother.
And we take so much for granted. We had, good parents that watched after us for the most part, kept us out of the street. Yeah. And we take a lot for granted, but without that example, which a lot of folks don't have that example, then that's where Open Door comes in a lot of levels. And at the same time, those newborn babies that don't have everything they need, they're able to care for that as well.
Thank you for saving me from going down a rabbit hole, because I was going down a rabbit hole with my parenting with my kiddos. Y'all know how I do. Barry Richards is here, as I said. He is stepping in for Sean Elmore. Sean is our first Monday guest. Consistently here on 1100 WSGI. Welcome to a brand new year. We're so excited about 2026. Thank you, Ebenezer Broadcasting, for letting me do this and keep my toe in radio waters. I just love it so much.
Absolutely.
And we've just got, and when I messaged Barry last night, I said, well, we need to talk about, do you have the date for the Open Door? I messaged
No,
Sean.
I do not. It's usually, I want to say in March or something.
Yeah,
like
I'll
that.
get the date. I'll see if I can't dig that up here in a minute. I hate to message her because I said, do you want to call in? She goes, I am just flat on my, she just, you know how the flu is.
Yeah,
guys.
yeah.
So bless you. Prayers for you, Sean. But we'll see if we can't scratch up the date. But it is coming up. We'll have time to talk about it and say save the date. And it's one of those things that if you want to go, you need to get your table early because it packs out.
Yeah, absolutely.
They run out of seats. And I've had times I've, done tables and I give up my seats because I already know about it. I want somebody to come that doesn't know about it. I'll go wait tables, man. I'll go help. I need to tell them, hey, do you want me to just come and help? Because I like to be there just to witness it because the video y'all do is just amazing.
Thank you.
It was so funny. It's Catherine, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I see her once a year,
Yeah.
But she does such a beautiful job. And last year she said, how much footage did y'all have? And you had to knock it down to...
It's hours and hours and hours. And we always laugh about it because it's like, well, this year we're going to do better. And we've had that conversation last week, but we'll see.
Condense.
Because you want to be able to tell a story without it being, because you don't have, whether it's at that banquet or whether it's throughout the year, Open Door Pregnancy Center is out there talking to the people in the community and sharing their story and the story of the people they serve. And people's attention spans are pretty short. And so we don't need, we don't need a message that you have to watch a documentary to understand. We need to get to the point. Yes. And the conversation we had with Sean last week about it was, a lot of it is seeing faces and letting people realize that these are real people in our community that are not unlike your kids, your grandkids, your neighbors' kids. They just need a little extra help, and that's where Open Door comes in. And that way, people, the banquet is to thank people who are supporting them. That way, those people can understand your dollars are really being used well, properly. They're not wasting money. They have a nice facility in Springfield. And they have the mobile unit now, but they're not wasting a penny. It's all it's great stewardship of the funds that they receive, and are really conscientious of how they move and how they grow with those funds. So I think it's a not-for-profit that anybody can be confident in here in Robertson County and beyond, because it does serve the surrounding areas as well.
I agree, and it's one of those things that I first heard about Open Door. Really, when it was, I forget where they were located. It was over on a little.
Over there, kind of near Belk, yeah.
Yeah, and it was just a little house, and I knew about it because of an association with some people. Because of my friend Penny Callis at the gallery.
Oh yeah.
She was affiliated with it through somebody who worked there. I guess is my first connection with it. But Penny was the first one who pointed me to it, and I just loved it. I loved the concept of it. And then when I started seeing what all they were doing and growing and the classes, it just blew my mind. And I've said this many times that because I dipped my toe in political waters and was so connected to, I did talk radio my entire career. So people would come to me when they would have political questions. And there was a time that I was a pretty good source for you because I stayed up to date on it. But when we've been in places where people were just kind of wringing their hands, what can we do? What can we do? They kind of feel like, oh, I don't know what to do to help my country. The thing I've always said is when we go to Mexico, we do mission work down in Mexico every year. And I don't know how many, I've been there 10 plus years, I think now, but every summer we go down there. And before I knew about Open Door, I've said what we're doing in Mexico is we're trying to change the communities from the inside out, so they can make a difference in their own communities. And that's what we do in Baja Peninsula, and beautifully. And I can remember saying when I was running for Congress, I wish we could do this here in the U.S. And then I got to know more about Open Door, and I'm like, that's what they're doing. And so that's what I tell everybody. If you really want to make a difference, there's so many things that are beyond our ability to change when it comes to the federal government, even the state government. You just as active as you possibly can be. But the thing you can tangibly do and make a difference is to get involved in programs like Open Door and change your community from the inside out, which is exactly what we're doing in Mexico. And it's changing things. And these programs here are changing things. What I love about the video too is I have been to see so many of those where I see people that I've had associations with through Recovery Court or Celebrate Recovery or some other recovery type program, and then to see how beautifully they've grown because all these programs overlap.
Yeah.
Yeah,
they're all connected. They all have relationships between them. So
it's really, really cool to see those relationships. And I know they have a great relationship. I know Open Door works a lot with Hope Center. Yeah. The guys at Hope Center come in and just kind of, roll up their sleeves and get busy to help with the dinner and all the things. But it's just I don't know, can't say enough about it. Now, do you know if they're going to do it at the center this year? Because they did it at the center last year.
Yeah, they outgrew most of the other venues, and they did it at the center, did a fine job.
Did a great job.
But I haven't heard anything.
Yeah, well, we'll get all the details from Sean. We'll get all the details from Sean. If you feel like it, Sean, you can kind of shoot me if it's going to be at the center and what the date is. We'd love to know that. But Sean Elmore is normally our guest on the first Monday. She has the flu, y'all, and apparently it's going through. I don't want it. We're getting back to school.
Oh, gosh, yeah.
Tomorrow.
Hey, I'm glad I'm coming in the day before you see any kids.
If I can,
I'm glad I'm coming in to see you the day before you see any kids.
Yeah, get the stuff. But anyway, Barry Richards here. We've got so many things to talk about. Of course, we want to talk about Exit Prime Realty. They are our longest running full-time sponsor. We appreciate them so much, making it possible for us to be able to do this. And but we also have a date for the Kilgore Station Bluegrass Festival.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
So let's touch on that because I'm so super excited about this. I saw you post that this weekend. It was like on January 2nd. Y'all put it up. I mean, when did y'all meet and decide that? I mean, was it
well, that is
kind of the
we've kind of known the date since last year, but now it's official because it's online. But May 15th and 16th, that's a Friday night. And then essentially all day Saturday at Cross Plains, Tennessee. And a lot of the social media stuff is kind of red, white, and blue because this is the 250th birthday of our country. And Kilgore Station is named after a guy who showed up here in 1778.
Oh, that's cool.
And of course, anybody that's ever been involved in the Historic Society there in Cross Plains, their programs that they do every 4th of July, you'll know that when Thomas Kilgore came through what is now Cross Plains, it wasn't Tennessee, it was North Carolina. And he was born a British subject, of course. Well, he was a British subject just a couple of years before that. But he came through in 1778, came back the following year, and created Kilgore's Station. It was a possessive back then. We call it Kilgore Station. But that's the name of our Bluegrass Festival in Cross Plains, Tennessee, is the Kilgore Station Bluegrass Festival. And we're working hard to create a legacy as enduring as Thomas Kilgore's was. But it'll be May 15th on a Friday night. We're planning to have the Dan Kelly Junior Fiddle Contest with classes for all beginner musicians up to, I believe, 14. And then we did last year introduce all ages for clogging, and we had some older folks. We had some older folks involved in that as a competition. And then the big barn dance on Friday night follows that. Saturday we'll have music, and we're getting ready to start trickling out the artists that we're going to have signed up. We've got some good ones that they've been talking to. That's not my department, but it's going to be lots of fun. Always is. Looking forward to it. Anybody that wants to get involved, connect with us on Facebook, and we'll put you to work. Lee Marie's always a big supporter of it, and Stephen, lots of folks just come out of the woodwork in the community to make it all happen. It's completely not for profit, and we just make enough money to sign up the bands the following year. Yeah. And it's worked very well. Also looking for sponsors. If my wife and I are a sponsor every year, and if you know of a local business that, A, wants to support bluegrass music in our community in a family-friendly event, and B, wants to get a little bit of exposure because we're going to be, you will be announcing their name from the stage. We can put your banner up with the right level of donation. And give you some publicity, give you a lot of online publicity. And that's the way it's really pivoted in the last few years, is so many more people connect with it online. And as soon as we put those posts online over the weekend about the date and about things coming up, it just, it blew up. People start sharing it. They're excited about it. And this time of year, when you're cooped up in the house, and well, today's not a great example since it's going to be 60-something degrees. Yeah. But when you're cooped up in the house in the winter, what you're doing in the spring and the summer, those are the plans that get people excited about what they're going to do when the weather turns warm. And this is one of those things, May 15th and 16th in Cross Plains, Tennessee. So make plans for it.
And I love it because the leaves are starting to come up on the trees.
Oh, yeah.
Getting full shade again. I'm one of these people. We just cut back from the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. I mean, I don't talk about being gone when I'm away. Because I don't want people to know I'm away. But, oh, my goodness, we went to where it was 17 was the high.
Wow.
The time we were there, they got something like 15 inches of snow right before we arrived. We were in the North Woods in the snow. It was incredible. It doesn't take much of that before I'm like, I'm ready for spring. I don't know how.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we'll probably get some snow before it's over. But like you said, just starting to anticipate if you've not been to the festival, guys, we come in, that what we do on Friday night is so much fun.
Oh, yeah, it is.
Watching the kiddos and watching. I love that we had some older folks come in and clogging. And it's so funny because I told them, I said, I'm going to be able to clog before we come in here. And I'm not wanting to compete. I just want to be able to do it.
There you go.
And who was the older woman that gets out there? Do you remember the grandmother and all of her grandkids clog? I can't remember names, but
exactly.
But they're, you know them here in town. Bill Jones would know who I'm talking about. But she's a doll. And she is, I'm wanting to say she's 80 something. And she tells me that's what she does around the house. She'll just clog some
every
day
and get the kids
to
going.
keep her healthy.
Sure.
to keep her fit. And so now that I'm done with all my, knee replacement and all that,
You're going to start clogging around the house?
I'm going to learn.
There you go.
I'm determined I'm going to learn. And, the Chuns, they've told me they'll teach me.
Oh, yeah.
And they dance on the radio at the Opry, and it's just so fun.
Well, and there have been some updates since last year to the park. The city of Cross Plains has done an incredible job of maintaining that facility on top of baseball fields, and they're working on soccer fields and things like that. But they added a concrete apron on each end of each end of the barn. So, in other words, I don't know if you recall, but to get into the barn, you had to step up.
Yeah.
On the end, and it was a little bit hazardous because you're on gravel and then you're stepping up. So the city has added a concrete apron on each end, so it's a slope up into the barn on each end and slope down. So it'll be a lot safer for people that are running, kids running in and out and that sort of thing when we open up those doors on each end. And it'll help, with erosion as well. So every year there's, something new at the park that's a little bit different. And of course, a few years ago, the big, jump forward was the addition of the restrooms.
That was huge.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
and it's made a big difference. So
yeah, we love that, not having to do our portalets. But it's been such a pleasure too to be there from the beginning and watching the development of it, because we, had a lot of them in April and the rain just kept pushing us in. And of course we were able to go into that cool theater that they had there at East Robertson, but we wanted to be in the park.
Yeah.
Because it's a natural amphitheater. I just absolutely, the way the hill goes into the valley there, and the music just kind of comes up from the valley, and you got the Honey Run Creek right behind it. It is just the most picturesque. It's just perfect. It's just perfect.
Absolutely.
We're going to pack it in. Come on.
Yeah, so make your plans. May 15th and 16th, Cross Plains, Tennessee. Go to kilgorestation.com online, or just look on social media for Kilgore Station Bluegrass Festival. You'll find us, and we'll save you a spot.
There you go. And now, as far I said something about get your tickets. It's not an advanced ticket thing. You get them at the gate.
Yeah, you can get them at the gate.
Yeah.
You can get them in advance,
Okay.
they're online now, but we haven't started pushing it out on social media. But we have a lot of people that'll buy a whole fistful of tickets for their family, and that way it's taken care of. They just show up at the gate. And we don't, they're not having to remember to bring money, or maybe, somebody buys it as a gift for other folks.
That's a great idea.
We're tickled to do that. And it's helped, gives us money in advance of the day. And at the same time, it makes things run smoother when you get there to check in at the park.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's a good time, and I was just thrilled to see the date, because that is also that is like my twins' birthday's on the 23rd, my grandbaby girl's 21st, so we have to get all this stuff in and put on the calendar, because I'm like, do not schedule anything May 15th and 16th. So the sooner I have that confirmed date, I can put it on the family calendar, because I'm like, Mama ain't going to be there the 15th and the 16th. So there you go. But I'm super excited about it. And you're talking about the red, white, and blue. I'm so excited about the 250th anniversary of America and all the things. And this is going to be such a fun year with everything that is just reminding you the gift that we have that is America. And I'm just excited.
Absolutely.
Because I remember that in
I do too.
1976. And I remember all the I've got still keepsakes from the bicentennial. Don't you? Do you not have some little
trinkets? That's a great
trinkets?
question. My wife may have some stuff from that, but I can remember, the big event in my hometown, and on the 4th of July of 1976, and it was a big deal, and everything on television leading up to that. There was a lot going on, and so cool. And that was, of course, 200 years. So 250 is still very significant. We're a quarter of a millennia.
Yeah, exactly. We won't be here for the 300, y'all. I hate to tell you. We ain't going to be here
for yourself, LaVern.
Well, okay. You're going to make it another 50?
We'll see.
You never know. You never know. These days, with the miracles of, who knows?
Modern medicine.
I would be.
You start clogging now, you might be
there.
There
you go. I might make it. Another 50. You never know, Lord, if that's what you want. But talking with Barry Richards about all the things that are going on in his world, wanted to touch on, because he is meeting with Sean Elmore on Wednesday to get started with the big extravaganza for Open Door Pregnancy and Resource Center. We will get all the dates and all the particulars on that. If you missed the open of the show, Sean's supposed to be here. She has flu. And so we do not want her in here because she has the flu. Ran into Barry last night in town and said, hey, I'll call you soon. And then last night I was like, hey, how about tomorrow soon?
I'll call you tonight.
How about tomorrow? But missing Rebecca today. She's off, had another appointment, couldn't join us. But talk to me then about, and of course, we'll be talking a lot about the Kilgore Station Bluegrass Festival. David's the one booking the bands, right?
Yeah, David Mitchell.
David Mitchell will be booking the bands. And so we'll get details on, who's going to be coming in for that. And I am going to clog. I'm going to clog Friday night. I'm determined.
Excellent.
I'm going to get to where I can do it. So I got to start learning. And the lady I was talking to, she says it's super easy. So,
sure.
Bill, if you knew who I'm talking about, if you're listening, text me or message me who that is, because I know, because he let's see. She's saying it is Mary Beth Lynn Clark's mom.
Okay, we're narrowing it down.
That's narrowing it down for us, Lee Marie. I love it. But you know who I'm talking about. And they're from Tennessee Rhythm. It's Tennessee Rhythm is who we're talking about. And they are phenomenal. They are so, so good. But she was the one that was telling me, and she's just a doll. She's just so cute out there clogging. But all of that thing. So let's move on to all things real estate. We need to set this up. We need to get you on the calendar once a month.
It's nice being here on this first Monday here in January. Although I was thinking this morning as I was looking over numbers, the numbers may not be all up to date because people are coming back from vacation. Some real estate offices may have some stuff that they're going to upload to the system today that'll update the numbers. But still, it's really eye-opening to look at what the inventory is in the market and what's happened in Robertson County in the last month. Here we are at the beginning of the month, so we can look back at December. Of course, December's always a little squirrely with the holidays, but those houses that closed in December, they went under contract at least a month earlier. So we have a lot of inventory. That is the takeaway from my visit today is there's lots of houses available in Robertson County. In fact, if you look at the current total inventory in Robertson County, there's 525 houses currently active, and that's up 12% from December of 2024.
Oh, wow.
So a lot of houses, and I just went online. I said, show me Robertson County, how many houses are 3-bed, 2-bath in Robertson County, site-built homes. There's 176 active listings that fit those criteria, and only 10 of those are under $300,000. So that's
crazy.
really eye-opening, as far as people getting into houses, and you couple the price of homes with the interest rates, it's keeping a lot of people away from the market. And that's why the last time I was here, I said, now is an outstanding time to be a buyer because there's a lot of inventory, a lot of listings that have been there for a while, and sellers, depending on their motivation, are more likely to be negotiable. They're more likely to consider your request for closing costs assistance or assistance with buying down your rate. And that's a thing that we're running into a lot more in the last year than we've seen in several years, is buying down the interest rate. And a common approach to that, and you'll hear people throw around the 3-2-1 buy down. I'll try to explain that without
because I don't have any idea what you're talking about. When you say buying down your rate.
Yeah, you're prepaying the interest for that buyer for the first year, perhaps, first 2 years, first 3 years. So we've had incentives recently where we've shown buyers, look, your interest rate, let's say it's 6%. Well, what if we were to buy that rate down for the first year? Let's say we bought 2% of that interest, prepaid 2% of that interest, so that your interest rate, what goes into your payment every month, is based on a 4% rate. That'd be a really big saving, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Well, that'd
especially
be
for a few years.
Yeah,
as you're
that'd be a
accustomed.
2-1 buy down. We buy 2 points the first year, 1 point the second year. So gradually your payment will go up as that interest kind of goes back to what it's actually based on. But for most people, you're also going to get a raise next year. You're going to bring in some more money. You're going to pick up some overtime. You know, if you anticipate your paycheck is going to be a little more stable in 2 years, then maybe that's a good match for you.
Yeah.
Make it more affordable the first year or two so that you can get used to that interest rate. And of course, if the interest rate drops substantially in the next 2 years, then you find yourself in a position to refinance.
Okay.
So that you can, you know, have that fixed rate lower, you know, forever. Say forever, as long as you own the house.
Let me ask you something about refinancing. And this is something that is it always, if you refinance, is it always going to cost you money to do it? I mean,
almost always.
Yeah. And I mean, we're talking like $10,000 sometimes.
Sometimes, not all the time. It depends, but that's a good question for a lender is how much is it going to cost me to refinance? Occasionally, our lenders will have loan programs where you can recast, they call that recast the loan at a certain time. Let's say you come into a windfall, I don't know, win the lottery or get an inheritance or get a big tax refund,
Right.
then you can put that toward your principal. So there are some loan products, but it's not something you can change midstream. It's something
Right.
that you have to know going in that that's a possibility. And we have had people where, for instance, I had somebody this past year who they really wanted to buy a house. They had their target home. They really needed to buy it. They worked with a local lender who was able to finance that house with the understanding that after 6 months, they were going to sell their existing home and pour that money into the principal. And at that point, they recast the loan. They recalculated all the, you know, the principal and interest based on the new principal.
Gotcha.
So instead of this person having to sell their house in order to buy, because they had good credit and they worked with a local lender who understood their situation, we were able to put that together so that they were able to buy and then sell. And it worked out, you know, all the way around. They were able to clear their house out. So that for showings, they didn't have all their stuff.
Sure.
Most of it was at the new place, and they were able to take their time moving. It's not for everybody. Not everybody can find themselves in that situation, and it's not without risk either. Now, this person had their house paid off, so they weren't taking on another mortgage on top of an existing mortgage, but they were able to, you know, financially make it work where they start making payments on this house. They're still paying insurance and they're still paying utilities on that previous house, but it made it easier for them and in their stage of life to make that move.
Okay. Well, I was going to say, because that would be the risk if you had another mortgage and you're hoping it sells, you know.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's
we encounter people that do that, will get a bridge loan or some kind of instrument through their lender that allows them to buy before they sell, but that is a risk. And I'm always, you know, first to say, hey, you need to make sure this risk works for you. And for some people it does, because we don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. What if there's some, you know, economic disaster that impacts us, like
COVID.
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
That's a great example.
Yeah.
What if something like that happened that really, you know, what if you lost your job? You know, what's your situation?
The impact.
What's the impact on you as an individual? And that's a conversation to have with your agent, but it's also a conversation to have with your lender, just so you know what's going on.
Okay. And I mean, all these things, guys, when it comes to anything to do with real estate, with, you know, and it's like as we were texting back and forth about what to talk about, we absolutely want to talk about the current real estate market, but also just, you know, all the things to consider if this is something maybe that you want to do.
Sure.
In life, if this is, you know, because here at the first of the year, we're all making New Year. Did you make any New Year's resolutions?
I didn't write anything down.
I didn't really either. I have things. I always have things every year that I'm like, I want to get more of this done. I want to.
Sure.
I want to have this. I want to have this, you know, happening. But for some people, it's like, man, I need something different. I need something part time, and so. With that said, we need to talk about that. Now, did we kind of get through? I don't know. I may have
as far as the current market
on you.
in Roberts County, I was looking at the average sales price, and I'm looking at all of December of 2025, comparing it to the previous December, just to try to make it apples and apples. But the average sales price was only up 1%, and the median sales price was up 5%. So home values continue to eke up just the tiniest bit, which is good. And in fact, honestly, I'd rather see it go up very, very slowly rather than major jumps that have a negative impact on affordability. But home prices continue to go up, but not nearly the jumps we've seen in the past. So again, that speaks well for buyers.
Yeah.
Now, if you're a seller, and especially if you're a seller, and I've had a few of these in the last year, and I've got some right now, who, for whatever reason, are selling after only owning the home 2 or 3 years, that's a challenge, especially trying to get your principal back out of that house. But everybody's situation is different, and that's what we're here for, is to work with those sellers, and to work with buyers who are looking for opportunities to work with agreeable sellers and get into a home. So.
Well, I mean, this is a hot community, so it's always going to be a place it's a good investment. That just doesn't mean things are going to sell as. I mean, you remember a couple of years ago? I mean, it was like boom, 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 boom. Things were selling so quick and fast. It was crazy.
It goes through cycles.
Interest rate was low, right?
Interest rate drives so much.
Yeah.
There are so many people I see them online. I talk to them in person who are interested in moving for one reason or the other. Maybe they need a bigger house. Maybe they need to downsize. But then they look at the payment, that is how their payment's going to change when they go from a low interest rate, 2 or 3%, to a higher interest rate, and it's just not affordable to them. So, and I can understand that. It's not a mystery. Now, there's plenty of people that when people got to move, they got to move. If they've got a job transfer, they need to go out of state to, help with a family member, or, all kinds of reasons that you might need to sell, then that's understandable. And our job is to help you find something that works for you, to help you sell what you need to sell and help you buy what you need to buy. So.
Well, and that's one thing as well is, I mentioned the refinancing. I get all kinds of refinancing offers like, you have equity. But I'm like, why in the world would I touch my interest rate?
Yeah.
Why in the world would I even touch that?
And you can talk to, and again, I'm going to preface every sentence. Every time I say lender, it's going to be following the word local. We've got great local lenders, banks, mortgage brokers here in the community. Those are the people you need to talk to. Please don't go online and type mortgage loans into Google and get connected with somebody who's on the other end of the country who doesn't understand the local situation here in our market. But talk to your local lender. Let's say you decided you wanted to build a new barn.
Right.
You don't have to refinance your whole house. You could get a home equity line of credit or a home equity loan, and do that. That way you're tapping that equity, but you're not losing that low interest rate you have on your existing mortgage. So
well, and that's one of the things too, is you can do those. And local lenders, I've used a couple of different things. Like I'll have something come up, and I'm like, I'd just rather do a loan, do a car loan, something like that, just anything like that.
Yeah.
But I haven't really thought about doing the improvements on the property because we've got some barns that need some work.
Sure, there you go.
I hadn't even thought about that. That might be a way,
Yeah.
to not deplete all my savings. Is that a smart thing? I mean, if I've got money in the bank versus getting a loan, I mean,
that's the $100,000 question.
Yeah.
If you've got money in the bank, should you spend it
or
or borrow?
loan.
Because
Yeah.
the reality is, if when you tap that home equity line of credit, that starts the clock ticking on paying interest. You're paying interest immediately, just like putting it on a credit card.
Yeah.
Now the interest rate will be considerably lower
than
if
what a
you were
credit card would be.
to put your barn repairs on a credit card. But the flip side of that is, if you spend all your ready capital and then an emergency comes up,
Yeah, then where are you?
well, if you have a home equity line of credit,
Yeah.
then you could tap that in case of an emergency. So it's not a bad idea to have that line of credit for when opportunities come along. And I know some people who dabble in investment who have a home equity line of credit, and that way, they're not paying interest, but the line of credit is there so that when they have an opportunity to make an investment, it's just like cash to them.
Okay.
You know, they realize they're going to be paying interest, and they're going to pay more interest on that line of credit than they would if they took a mortgage out on whatever
Right.
they're investing in. But it's instant cash, so that when the deal comes along, like for instance, you're going to an auction, or you're got an opportunity to buy something that's not going to be around. You know, you're competing with people that have to go get mortgages. That cash buyer is always the king when it comes to closing a real estate transaction.
So I could do an equity to buy, say, 5 acres that are next to me.
Sure. Yeah. Get that money, or have it available so that when you decide to buy some property, it's
Trying
there.
to get that road frontage at the top of my property.
Yeah. And then once you buy that with your line of credit, then go back to the bank and say, okay, let's talk about what would it look like if I finance this into a mortgage so that I'm paying a lower interest rate. How much lower will it be? How much will my closing costs on that new loan be? And do I qualify for that loan with my my income and my current mortgage and that sort of thing. So, but it's always worth having a conversation with a lender just to find out, because they make their money when they make a loan, and they make their money when you pay interest. So they're going to give you the options and let you see what works best for you, because that's how they get their next piece of business is education. And that's same goes for real estate agents. If I can educate you and open your eyes to some opportunity that you hadn't thought of, that may mean that I get to help you buy or sell. If not, nothing wasted but a little bit of time.
Well, so my kids are always, now that they're all grown men and they're so much smarter than me and their dad, we hear that all the time. They're always like, well, y'all don't need to spend everything you have. You need to do this, and you need to get an equity, and you've got all this equity in the farm, and and all this advice, And we have one kid that might move out here, but it's really, he wants some road frontage at the top of the property. And, so it's like, I don't know. It's just trying to just kind of juggle all of it in your head.
And it is good to have the equity that's not, that has not been tapped, so that if there's major life changes or emergencies, you're not, the biggest challenge in real estate is to work with somebody who is in a hurry. Because they put themselves at a disadvantage, unfortunately, and they're not doing it on purpose in most situations. But they've got to sell, and they've got to sell on a certain timeline. Especially in this market, they come to you and say, "I want to get top dollar, and I want to sell fast." Well,
good luck with that.
Let's see what we can do. But my job is to set expectations and to show you, here's how long houses are on the market, and here's what sells in your price range, and here's what your neighbors have sold for that will support that price when an appraiser comes along. It's all about setting expectations and letting people know, here's what you can expect. But again, I don't have a crystal ball. I can't predict it. We hope the perfect buyer will come along the first weekend on the market, but we can't guarantee it.
Right. So a lot of questions, and on the kind of on the heels of that, you are a broker.
Yes,
so
I'm the broker.
What does that mean? Because I know Rebecca is because I'll put them together, Barry and Rebecca Richards, and she says we compete against each other. We compete against each other, and he's not my broker, and that's what she'll say all the time. So what is you talk about? Finding the local lender to maybe have that line of credit or whatever. But what is your job as a broker then? Because I don't really understand that.
Under Tennessee real estate law, and under most states, and I'm licensed in Kentucky as well, so I've got a lot of insight into that. Each real estate office in Tennessee has a principal broker. And that person, basically is liable for the actions of that office and all the agents in that office. So,
you carry insurance.
We all carry insurance. All realtors have to have real estate.
Liable, that word comes up. It's like there's an insurance policy.
If you're an active real estate licensee in Tennessee, you have to have errors and omissions insurance. If your insurance lapses, your license goes away that day.
Errors and omissions.
So, and as a broker, though, I've got to pay attention to what I'm doing, but also all the agents that are under me. And Jennifer Moss is our broker in White House, and when I became the principal broker for our Springfield office, she said, "Congratulations! Now you can get sued even harder." Oh, that's the way she said it.
Oh, dang!
But and that's a actually leads me to a point. You mentioned people considering getting into real estate. I'd love for you to come meet with me, meet with other people that are, a part of our office, and understand how Exit works, because it's different from other agencies, and how our local Exit Prime offices function. But at the same time, when you're going around and talking to other real estate offices, that's a really good question to ask, is how many agents is your broker having to supervise? Because, and that's, unfortunately, that's something we look at when we are in the middle of a deal and the agent is obviously not really up to speed on everything or making some questionable decisions on the other side. Our job is to protect our client, whether you're my buyer or you're my seller. My obligation is to do everything in your best interest, not my best interest, your best interest above all, and treat the rest of the public, with honesty. But when I see an agent that's doing some weird things in a transaction, one of the first things I do is go look, how many other agents are in your office? And I've had deals this year with agents where it's over 100 agents in the office. And because of changes in license law, sometimes that broker is in Knoxville. They don't have any understanding of Middle Tennessee.
Yeah.
And if that agent digs themselves in a hole on behalf of their client, that broker may not be paying much attention or may not be much assistance to them.
Okay.
So that's an important thing to do. If you're considering a career in real estate and you're talking to real estate offices, by all means, come talk to us. Let me tell you about us and see if we would be a good fit for you. But that's something to pay attention to, is how many agents are being overseen by a broker that doesn't really have time to oversee them, especially if that broker, like me, is also out selling houses. So.
Right. Well, and you mentioned something too when you and Rebecca were in last month about how that the broker that she works with, it can still work with Kentucky property. What is the situation there? Because I do, we talk a lot about, because I do your ad every day, and we say, hey, they buy and sell properties in Kentucky. Do you have to have because you said something about the laws have changed in Kentucky.
They changed the laws in
that for a second?
Used to in Kentucky, with the Kentucky license laws, you could open an office in Arizona and say, I've qualified as a Kentucky I have a Kentucky licensed broker. I'm going to say this is my Kentucky office, but the address is in Scottsdale. Well, they don't allow that anymore. You have to have a physical address in the state of Kentucky to open a new real estate brokerage under Kentucky licenses.
Okay.
Now, we are grandfathered in White House.
Gotcha.
Because we opened one, it's over a decade ago
Yeah.
now. So we have a broker in White House who is licensed in both Tennessee and Kentucky and who has a lot of experience in both states. Working with both states. And it's really handy to be licensed in both states, because here along the state line, we have so many people that are considering a jump across the line. They work in Portland, for instance, but they see, wow, you can really get some deals in Franklin. It really would be nice if I could just live over there, but I need to sell my house in Portland.
Right.
We can help on both sides of the line simultaneously, and it helps out a lot. The big, the New Year's gift for folks in Kentucky is their state income tax dropped to 3.5%. So they got a 12.5% drop in their income tax on January 1st, on their income tax. So a lot more people are considering Kentucky. They don't pay grocery tax. They pay a lower sales tax. They pay a property tax on their cars, which comes to bite people. Although I paid my car tag the other day and I thought, how much would this cost if I lived in Kentucky? Because I drive a hybrid, I paid $285.
Really?
On tax. Yes, because if you
I would think it'd be a savings because it's a hybrid.
Next time you have here's the reason.
Okay.
I don't use as much gas as you do.
Oh.
So they're going to get that money from me a different way.
See, I would think that there would be an incentive, because they're all about, we need to use less fossil fuel.
Sure.
And so you would think that would give the incentive and give you a tax break on it because you're doing the hybrid thing. Huh. That's interesting.
Yeah, I pay an extra $100 every year because I
had
drive
no
a hybrid.
idea. Interesting. Well, the whole Kentucky thing is always interesting to me because I do have family. My brother and his bride still own the family farm and do all that. And my nephews are up there. A bunch of my nephews are there. And one of my very best friends works here, but lives in Kentucky. And so, they have that issue. And so always, they'll talk about buying stuff up in Kentucky and the savings they get versus, we have those conversations. And so it's quite interesting to see. And, that's what we talk about in the ad all the time is you need to just make sure you're looking at the entire bottom line. It's like, okay, is the state income tax going to be, what's it going to do to your bottom line and how much you can buy?
Go to your HR department and just say, hey, I'm thinking about moving to Kentucky. What's that going to do? And they'll check on it for you.
Right.
And one thing that people overlook is when you live in Kentucky and you're paying a lower sales tax, that includes the stuff you buy on Amazon. All that stuff you get through the mail, they're calculating. Back in the day,
I hadn't thought about that.
Back in the day, we would buy stuff through the mail because they wouldn't charge the sales tax.
Right.
But of course, the states got wise to that and said, okay, now, we're putting the obligation on Amazon or whomever to collect this sales tax on our behalf. And it makes perfect sense. So when if you're one of those people where the boxes are piling up on your porch while you're at work, then you're saving on sales tax if you are getting that delivered to a Kentucky address versus a Tennessee address.
I never even thought about that because I purchased something on Amazon just yesterday and I was like, oh, the taxes.
Yeah, that's how they get you.
So high. And of course, but I'm glad that we get the tax benefit locally because I try to do as much as I can locally in spending because I want the tax dollars to come back here because I'm a school teacher.
Yeah.
And we need those tax dollars. So we're talking with Barry Richards, Exit Prime Realty, about all the things he's involved with. And he is literally involved in everything, it seems like. We started out with Open Door. Sean Elmore was supposed to be here. She has the flu. So late yesterday, I messaged Barry and said, hey, come on in, because he can talk, very informative about Open Door and all the things.
Very superficially about it.
But both of us, we're
both aware of it.
We're big admirers, and you've got your hand in it with this video that y'all do every year for the big extravaganza that they use on social media throughout the year. You're getting ready to meet on that. That'll be coming up in March. We'll talk more about that. Get better. Miss Sean, we love you. I'm so sorry you're feeling bad. But also, too, Kilgore Station Bluegrass Festival, we have announced the date for that. It is
May 15th and 16th, Friday night and all day Saturday, Cross Plains, Tennessee.
And then we always want to talk about all things real estate and all the things that are going on. What are we missing as far as the real estate question? Because, this is, we won't officially stop and do that. We'll go ahead and do the phone numbers and all that officially because we haven't, officially done that.
Sure.
Because it's been the last half hour has all been.
Since some of our listeners may be driving, I'll just say Barry and Rebecca Richards with Exit Prime Realty. Look us up online. You can visit Becky's website at sellwithbecky.com or buy Robertson County,
BUY, RobertsonCounty.com. Kind of rolls off the tongue.
And that site will take you directly to all the listings that are active in Robertson County. One thing I'm talking to a lot of people about right now is getting ready to buy or getting ready to sell. I have a lot of people say, hey, I'm thinking about selling. Come on over to my house. Tell me what you think about it. I'm happy to come to your house and give you a market analysis, show you what else has sold that's going to support your price, with the understanding that if you are going to wait 6 months, we're going to have to do this all again. It may mean that your value goes up, likely will, might mean your value goes down depending on what sells, in your part of the county. And also I can come over and just tell you what I would recommend you do in order to get ready to sell. One of the cheapest things you can do, if you can do it, is paint. If you can, spruce up the paint, if you can spruce up floor coverings, if you've got some worn hardwood floors that need some work, things like that are really going to have an impact for a minimal cost relative to other things. In other words, if you are thinking about going in and putting a whole new kitchen in, yeah, that'd be great, but I'm not going to guarantee you're going to get that investment back when it comes time to sell.
Because that's expensive.
It can be very, very expensive. And it seems
We're
like
doing it right
yeah.
now. It's like, ugh.
But I'm happy to come take a look at your house, give you an idea of what I feel like it'll bring in the market, and give you some advice on here's the things you might consider doing that are going to make a difference when you get ready to sell, when you're really ready to sell. And if you're ready to sell, this week, we can make that happen. We can line up the photographs. I always have my eye on the weather. I can tell you that we're going to get some rain later, and the only reason I know that is because I'm planning on taking pictures of houses.
Yeah.
And I've got to schedule that around the sunshine.
Yeah.
But we can get you on the market quickly if you need to. But if you're just thinking about it or planning for something down the road, I'm happy to come over and look at your house, talk to you about it, talk about a strategy for selling. People are always trying to time the market. They'll say, hey, we want to list in the spring because we heard the spring market is hot. And I understand that. A lot of people are going to be looking in the spring because they want to move during the summer. When the school year is over, that's when they want to move. So they need
transition time.
It absolutely is. But the reality is so many other people put their houses on the market. We've got high inventory right now. We're going to get even higher inventory here in the next few months. So if you are thinking about selling, I will not discourage you from going ahead and listing now. You're going to get on the front end of that market, but maybe you'll save yourself a little bit of competition with additional inventory that we expect to come. It's really challenging to time the market and try to figure out the best time to list because everybody's motivations are different.
Well, and if you think about it, when you look at the school year, in 9 weeks we'll be into spring break, and then 9 weeks after that you're into summer. That's a blink
absolutely.
of time. That's just it goes so fast. And if it takes time to get a house sold, to go through closing and all of those things. And a lot of times whoever you sell it to is negotiable and can say, okay, yeah, I understand. You need your kids to finish the school year before they transition to a new school. And you can do a lot of that negotiation on the backside rather than trying to time it.
Well, and especially right now for buyers.
Right.
They are in the catbird seat as far as negotiation goes because the sellers, especially those that have been on the market for a while, are going to be more flexible.
Right.
So if your goal is to move during the summer, then come talk to me. Let's look at that. Let's look at what is holding you back and how we can make it work the best for you. And what are your options? When I talk to somebody and they say, yeah, I need to sell and I need to buy at the same time, we do that every day. We can make that happen. But the person that comes to me and says, yeah, and we could go live with mom for a couple of weeks if we needed to, that light comes on because that just opens up the door.
It does.
It would be really challenging for me to do that. It'd be challenging for me to sell and buy and not move right into that new house. But people that can have a little bit of flexibility, maybe they've got family that can help them out, that makes all the difference in the world. It allows you to negotiate from a better standpoint when you're buying and selling. So
it's just all the things to consider. We're down to the last few minutes here. Is there anything we're missing that you want to make sure people know before we wrap things up here? Because I can't believe we're already at the top of the hour.
There we go.
It goes quick.
I want people to know that if they're getting ready to buy, let's have a conversation. You can prepare to buy. You can set money aside is the biggest thing because you want to be able to negotiate, without a lot of pressure of, am I going to have enough money for the down payment and the closing costs that the seller's not going to pay and my moving expenses and setting up my new utilities. Having a little bit of savings is going to go a long way. And this is a great time of year to talk about it. When you get that tax refund, you've got that money in hand. If you've been thinking about buying, let's have a conversation about it because that could be the key. Instead of spending that on a vacation this year, maybe you spend that on a down payment and then you start building equity in a new house. That's a great, opportunity for buyers, but come talk to me about buying. And we encounter a lot of people that will kind of get the itch to buy and they'll go start looking at new construction. And we've got great builders around this area. You can look online at the reviews, decide which ones you like the best. But before you go look at new construction, come talk to me and let me go with you, or let me provide the information to you. Because here's the deal. When you walk through the door of that new construction without an agent, they're immediately putting you in the logs as an unrepresented party. I'm not saying they're predatory, but they represent that builder. And it will benefit you to have an agent on your side. We have seen people get burned because of things they just didn't anticipate and didn't understand about the new construction process, especially with some of the big national builders, because almost all of these big builders are using their own contracts. They're not using the standard contract that most real estate transactions use in the state of Tennessee. So it's going to help you to have more eyes on that contract, because that contract's written by their lawyers. It really is designed to protect the builder in all circumstances, and we want to make sure that you're getting a fair shake when you're going to look at new construction. An agent can be your helper in that situation as well. A lot of people overlook that. They think, oh, I want to buy new construction. It's like going to the store and buying something. It's not. There's a lot more. There's a lot more to it, and there's some hurdles you have to get over, especially if you're in a situation where you're selling and buying new construction. You need an agent to help you out in that transition. It can really benefit you a lot.
I can't imagine trying to even put my toe in the water of buying or selling or doing anything in real estate without having a realtor to help, because I just there's so much the legal side of it. It's just like I think about some of the things I've done without an attorney, and like whenever I've tried to get a trademark on U-Turn LaVern back in the very beginning, and I tried to do it without an attorney. This has been many years ago.
That's a great example.
And got terribly spent money, was useless. When I had an attorney that could take care of it, it was like, no problem. Yeah. And the same thing, if you're dipping your toe in some waters you don't know, and you don't have somebody that understands it, you're going to end up spending money you don't want to spend, and you're probably not going to end up in the position that you want to be in.
I see people online comment a lot of times, oh, I've bought and sold several times, and I've always had a good experience, and I'm happy for those people. That's great. But and the way I say it is, it's all great until it's not.
Until it's not.
So, my fingers are crossed for you that you're going to have a great experience buying and selling without an agent, because it happens every day.
Yeah.
But when it doesn't go well, it goes really, really bad.
You better believe it. It can cost you a lot.
At the very minimum, just give me a call. Let's talk. Let's discuss your options.
Tell them again how to get in touch with you as we wrap up. It's 8 o'clock.
Yeah. Google Barry and Rebecca Richards Exit Prime Realty, White House in Springfield and Kentucky as well, and we'll be glad to talk to you.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Barry and Rebecca Richards, Exit Prime Realty, our longest running full-time sponsor, and we appreciate y'all so much. As he said, sellwithbecky.com, buy, B-U-I, RobertsonCounty.com, or you just can Google them, and you'll find everything you need to know about Exit Prime Realty, Barry and Rebecca. Don't forget about the Open Door Pregnancy and Resource Center stuff. We're going to be talking more and more about that coming up in March. And, of course, Kilgore Station Bluegrass Festival coming up. The date has been announced, May 15th and 16th this year. Save the date, and I hope you'll be with us tomorrow. Thank you for joining us. This is 1100 WSGI. God bless you. Have a wonderful day, and get back to school tomorrow, kiddos. Can't wait to see you.
This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine.